quick introduction to DoView Boards. What are DoView Boards? Well, they're a new app which enables you to plan any kind of initiative, any kind of activity, organisation, initiative, policy, strategy, any kind of action in the world. They enable you to plan those. It can be simple action, or it can actually be quite complicated systems and processes and organisations. So what is the objective of a DoView board? Well, it's actually to answer the 20 key questions which we need to answer in regard to any organisation or initiative that we're undertaking, any action we're undertaking. These are things like, what are the outcomes we're trying to achieve? What are we going to measure? How are we going to measure it? How are we going to prove alignment between our activities and our priorities? How are we going to report on it, etc. So the idea of a DoView board is you have all of this in one single place. It's called a single source of truth. It's called the system of record. You've got everything at your fingertips instead of all that documentation out there which relates to different aspects of organisational planning. This is for people who are running organisations, but it's also people who have oversight of organisations. They too want to answer these 20 key questions. Now, to navigate within a DoView board, we can click here, click back to overview, which is where you look at the overview of the board. We can also use this like previous and next navigation as you would expect. So let's go back here. Now, what we've got here is we're looking at the overview page. Now, on the overview page, we have various elements. One is the final outcome. So here we have the final outcomes of whatever we're trying to do here, well-functioning organisation, making a profit, saving the world, etc. We go back to overview, and then we look at the actual constituent pages within a DoView board. There's this then pages. These set out the logic of what you're trying to do. They're all about the outcomes and the steps you want to take in the real world. The how pages are much more about the action that you're going to take in the world. And then the documentation pages are just simply documentation about what's happening in regard to the organisation or the initiative. So let's have a look at the this then pages. If you want to add a page, you just click on add a new page, and there you can select the type of page you want to add. If we go to a this then page, it's a very simple concept. If you're trying to do anything in the world, you need to set out its outcomes, but you also need to set out the pathway to those outcomes. So this is what we call a this then logic. On the left hand side is the this. There's boxes about the this that you want to happen first in the world, boxes on the way, and then these boxes on the right will occur. It's called a logic model, a causal model. It's called an intervention logic, a results roadmap, all sorts of names, theories of change, etc. for these things. But the whole concept is they're based around outcomes. And this is a crucial part about DoView boards. They're actually based on the notion of outcomes planning, not just project level normal project planning, which is really about the actions you're going to take, etc. Nothing wrong with that, but the DoView boards can be seen as sitting above that. They help you figure out the alignment between your high level outcomes and the projects or activities that you're taking. So how do you actually get access to the information that's in a DoView board? You click on what's called page view, which is up, you can see up the top here. Now just really get familiar with this, because page view enables you to decide what kind of information you want to expose onto the page of the DoView board. So you want to start real simple, but then you'll find there's enormous power in this page view, page being able to show the different types of information you get from the DoView board. Okay, now let's go back to overview, because that was a little bit on this then pages. So go back to overview, click on back to overview, or you can navigate previous or next here at the top. So go back to overview. We've talked about this then pages. Now let's have a little look at the how pages. A how page is more about the action you're going to take to make anything happen in the world. And so that's, you use the actions to actually work on those high level this then boxes within the this then pages. So within the DoView board, there's a very powerful way of visualizing whether you have alignment. I won't show it here, it's in another video. But you can show alignment by seeing whether these boxes here are visually aligned with the boxes in the this then pages. So that's what the how pages are all about. That's where you put your action. We go back to overview, and then we have documentation pages. I showed you one of those before. They're just simply they have text on them. So we're now back on the overview page. You can see the overview page. We've been looking actually what's called the compact mode on the overview page. Normally the overview page looks like this, where you have some bigger cards that you can work with. As I said before, you can add a new page there. So we've been in presentation mode, and so this is really the simple mode where you're presenting to people. You want them to see a clean overview, a helicopter view of what's going on. But you can click to normal mode by using this toggle here, and now we're in normal mode. We have a lot more possibilities opening up for us here. Along the top are a whole lot of lists of different elements which are in the DoView board. There's measures, evaluation, question, links, etc. If you want to get help with training, get in touch with us there. Now, it's important to note that DoView boards are a prototype only. So basically, DoView boards is a an open source. The DoView Boards are open source project. Anyone can build on them and take them and put them in anything that they want. They can put them into any system. And now, because of AI allowing people to write code so fast, it's relatively easy for a developer very quickly to put this DoView Board function into any kind of system that you're running. You're free to do that. You just have to acknowledge it, call it DoView Boards. But you can go to town on that, build your own apps, call them DoView Board apps, call them whatever you like. The only thing that we limit is this official DoView badge. So don't put that on anything that you build until, if you want to get the badge from us, just get in touch on our website. And it says, we'll that it's look at it and we'll check that it is actually standards compliant to the DoView Board standards. But anyone's free to do DoView Boards, to train anyone about DoView Boards, to use them in consulting and for commercial reasons. Do whatever you like with them, because it's really DoView Boards as a concept. It's basically a concept, and this actual app is a prototype app. So just a few other things here before we finish. Here there's, if we go to a page here, we get along the top is page view. That's what we talked about, that page view. You can change page order. So if you want to delete the page, you go there. If you want to edit the page title, you just click it there to edit it. Now, if you want to edit boxes, you click on there and you go box actions, and then you have the actions for editing the boxes and putting in columns, doing whatever you like in regard to that. If you click on a box, the details page opens up at the bottom, and on that page you can do all sorts of things like adding measures and putting jumps to pages and putting in notes and doing whatever you like in regard to that. Now, along the bottom, what we have is just another menu along the bottom, which is Save and Download Board. It's really important that you get on top of this, because the DoView Board, the app, and actually the board itself is just in one single HTML page, which is produced by AI. You just use a free AI prompt and you produce the page, and then you open that HTML page. It's a little bit different from the traditional kind of app, but we need to get used to this because there's going to be more and more of these just straight one page HTML type apps around. So just read this carefully. When you click on Save the Board, it just tells you how to save it, and it's all set out there. There's no big deal about it, but it's really important that you get on top of that. You understand what you're doing in terms of saving and editing the board. You've got print board. You can copy pages for pasting from other boards. You can create and save a new empty board. If you click on that, then you will save an empty board. You just have to go away and open that empty board, and then you can basically you can create a read-only version here down there on that command. And the read-only version means that people can't edit it easily. It's not actually a read-only security version, but it's just one that just stops people trivially editing the board. Sometimes people can attach a copy of that, for instance, to a contract, because it articulates exactly what you want in terms of deliverables and measurables from the person who's contracting or you're delegating to. Along the bottom, there's information for developers. So all of the information developers need, there's a thing called GitHub, which is a place where developers go to get all the information they need to build on any kind of open source project. That's all available for them. If they click on that, they find out information. And importantly, there's a disclaimer down the bottom. And then just lastly, this will give you the sources that have been used in creating the page. So in terms of AI, the way DoView Boards work is that you go to our website, you download the free prompt, you put that prompt into, we know it works with ChatGPT, we know it works with Claude, it may well work with other AI systems. You just put the prompt in and you tell it what type of board you want to make. It'll go away and it'll create the board for you. There can be a simple board, or it can be as elaborate as you like. It'll create like a draft board. You then take that back and you work on that draft board. Now, do remember, you can go back to the AI. If you make sure that just the prompt is uploaded into the AI chat, you just then put, say you want to change it. You just talked about how you want to change it. I want extra pages about this. I want this changed. I want that changed. And then you can go away and work on it yourself. That's if you do it with inside a chat, with inside a normal AI system. There's also a way of chatting with the board, which I won't go into that now, but you need what's called an API key, which enables you to talk actually inside the board. So you don't actually have to go out to your AI system. You can chat with the board. You can say, delete this, add this, do that. So you can experiment with that. That's entirely it's optional. You don't need to have that. You don't need to turn that on, and you can happily use DoView Boards. So basically, that's the main things to know about DoView Boards. Just do remember, you can move from presentation. You can go to presentation view at any time and make it nice and simple for people, or you can move back to normal view. There's various functions then. So look at the other videos. You can find all the information about this up on the website. So remember that there's no limit on what you can do with DoView Boards. There's no license fee. You can use them to in consulting. You can use them in your own organization. You can train people in the use of DoView Boards. All you need to do is acknowledge that you're using DoView Boards. However, if you want to get any assistance with any of this, assistance with training from us, facilitation of workshops where you're actually building a DoView board, or if you're a developer and you want to develop it further, you're free to develop it further as an open source project. But if you want any input from us, we've obviously got lots of ideas about DoView boards could go next. And the thing about DoView boards is that while we've got all this AI happening, we're still going to need to specify the outcomes we're trying to achieve. That's why the power of it being outcomes focused. So it doesn't matter whether you're working with humans, you're working with AI, you're working with hybrid human and AI systems. The idea of specifying the outcomes you want to achieve at that very high level is not going to go away. So DoView boards have a great future right into the AI age. They're not about to be replaced in the sense the concept's not about to be replaced. They could also be useful for actually talking to AI systems about what you want AI systems and agents to do. So just get back in touch. We can, if you're developing in the AI area, we can give you the badge to say that your AI system is compliant with the AI standards once we've assessed that. So do get back in touch with us about that in any regard, and good luck with your DoView board work.